Right. Now it's being recorded. Okay. You guys have a strong background um, of accounting, basically functional accounting, calculations, or maybe dealing with accounting information. In addition to university learning, you guys, of course, maybe almost of all, must be following some professional courses in accounting and finance. So therefore, um, the subject matters or technical aspects or anything related to knowledge must be maybe aware, like um, has been touched by you guys to some extent. So with such a context, we are going to talk about the management accounting subject. So before talking about the subject or the today's session, I would like to talk a little bit about this course, like basic operations, and what we call course introduction. Course introduction. Just let me share a presentation prepared um, by the panel of lecturers, because you know that this lecture, even though that is online, is conducted in 4 groups. I hope that you guys are seeing the screen well. Is it seen? Yeah. Do you see the screen properly? Okay. Right. Course introduction. This is management accounting. You know this name and all this. So lectures are conducted by a panel of lecturers and coordinated by Dr. Kingsley Karunaratne. You must have met him, or maybe at the official welcome he was introduced, I suppose. The other one is Dr. Dileepa Samudrage. She's also, her discipline is management accounting and strategic management accounting. You must have seen her on that day. Then Dr. Dayananda Ambalangodage. Today's lecture is conducted by me, Dayananda Ambalangodage, Dr. Dileepa, and Kingsley Karunaratne. Um, like all the students have been divided into 4 groups. This is group number 1. Purely consists of students attached to the Department of Accounting. Other 3 groups have been assigned in such a manner by combining other programs. Then Mr. Udeshantha, I hope that you must have seen him. So this is me, Anil, and then Dr. Chaturika Senaviratne, Rangaji Vaherat, you must have seen him. Then Mr. Sandaruan, Chaturanga Sandaruan, then Roshan Herat, then Miss Tilini Kure, the finally Miss Amali Henadi Rage. Some of our lectures will conduct tutorials as well, in addition to lectures. And one thing, um, I do not know the level of exposure that you have within the university or the university life, how well you have interacted with lecturers. Of course, you have a very good interaction and understanding among yourselves and your colleagues. But with lecturers, of course, in my case also, I also do not have much interaction with you guys. I do not know you, but feel free to interact and maintain very close contacts, uh, um, interactions in a way might help us to create better platforms for learning. So that is beneficial for you. Feel free. That's what I have to simply tell you. Some, though we say the ground rules, some information actually. I don't want to call these things as rules, though it is there in the presentation as rules. You are not infants, you are adults. So we live in information era, um, and one of the fundamental difference in the world, there are two worlds. One world is we live with beliefs, believing versus knowing. I do not know to which world you belong, but I want you to be in knowing world, not in the believing world. I don't like the believing world. But if you look at the environment everywhere, to great extent, including our academic fields and social aspects, so many live in a believing world. That could be true, and one of the reasons, so the recently introduced this, everyone called panier, right? Corona panier. So people were in caves to get it. So even now, though no matter whether many hidden facts behind this syrup has been revealed, still people yes, believe that that is a real would be a cure for corona. Maybe because of the fear with which people live. There are so many other reasons behind why people believe in so many unknown things. If you want, you can do a research. Of course, such a research will come within social research. But anyway, it is a fact. In different ways or manners, people believe without having reasons. You can believe if you have adequate information to some extent, but unfortunately, we live in a belief world and not in a knowing world. The struggle is believing versus knowing. So my suggestion is to just turn to the knowing world and not to the believing world. The believing world would bring you to a dogmatic thinking, argument, and that is not the ideal situation as in terms of learning. Okay, with some information again, not rules. It's always good if you can read this course manual, recommended. But of course, you are free to read additional readings. Why we have prepared this particular course manual is to guide you. And it's not something sacred and this is the one. No. But if you do not read the course manual and none of reading, of course, your competencies would not improve. So starting point, so course manual has been structured and concise, then you can go through it quickly. When you read the course manual, some doubts may be there, some contradiction may be there, sometimes there may be lots of puzzles. You may have heard something, you may have learned something different from other places. In the course manual, you may see something different so that you can explore the internet. So nowadays, don't worry, as I just told you, in a knowing world, better to collect information as much as possible from different perspective, analyze it by using your tools, your own tools, generally accepted tools. So likewise, there are different ways. So, but first, in the first instance, you must be able to gather relevant information. Relevant information. That is the purpose of giving you the course manual. And don't think that if you read the course manual and you can buy hard course manual and then reproduce all those things when the examination comes. Actually, we try to deviate. Of course, traditionally, to some extent, maybe in other courses, it could be true. If you buy hard things and reproduce at the examination, you can get a good grade. But in the management accounting subject, we try our level best to bring out your analytical thinking, reasoning. So do not know up to what extent we would be successful. successful. Yes, I get a message. So there's a message. Accounting group 2. අපිට link එකක් දාලා. Accounting group 2 can, so all together how many students? So can someone talk to me? Yes, can someone speak up? ඔයගොල්ලන් accounting මේ group එකේ ළමයි කී දෙනෙක් ඉන්නවද all together? Hello?
Hello, sir.
කතා කරන්න කවුරු හරි? Yes, කියන්න.
There are, I think, 196 students.
Oh, 96
around.
students in 2 groups or 1 group?
200.
Two. ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ කොහමද groups දෙක?
Both.
One group
There's no idea about that.
So how do you know that you belong to
LMS.
group 1? No, in LMS.
Yeah, it showed. Yeah, LMS showed our CPM numbers.
CPM No worries, no worries. For like no matter whether you are in group 1 or 2 in LMS or any other learning purposes, for management accounting subject, you all are in accounting group. Is that clear? Accounting group. There is only one group for this subject.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So at any point in time, just disturb me, even chat box. If I see the chat box, I will look at. Otherwise, you better just speak up. Because our communication, like mode of lecturing, is English medium. That is the reason why I always just continue to talk in English. But we can communicate in Sinhala as well. I do not know. So there may be some students, they do not speak or they do not understand Sinhala. So therefore, it is always like wise to use English. But in any case, if you want to communicate very clearly, just use Sinhala language. What matters is not the language, but the communication. Okay. And one of the problems in my lecturings, I have to just tell you in advance, not even in lecturing, in day-to-day talking, my speed of talking is very fast. Actually, this is not my normal way of talking. It's very fast. Sometimes you may have seen me on television or maybe on other programs as well. I have taken part some debates a couple of weeks. So last week I took part in one TV program called Face the Nation, about the recently released budget. So there are also some of my friends told me, so fantastic ideas, but we hardly catch them because the speed was very fast. The way I speak is a little bit fast. Therefore, please, I need your feedback. Okay, I try my level best to slow it down. Yes. So therefore, for this class, accounting group means group 1, 2, whatever, whoever. So as long as you are already a registered student to the accounting department, you can be in this particular group. I will generate a report after this particular lecture and check all these things and sort out that matter. No worries about it. Okay. I hope it's clear. Reading. Then information and announcement. If there are any additional, like always you can contact me through email. That is much better. In addition, we will see sometimes some other lecturers also would take up this particular group for the lessons. But nevertheless, I'll talk to the course coordinator and see the possibility of creating a WhatsApp group or any other social media group to quickly communicate. Apart from other modes of communication, always you are requested to look at LMS or learning material system. Sure, I will send my email address as well. Okay, now I'll write it, otherwise I may forget. You can get it even in from the university website. It is easy. My name at sjp.ac.lk. Right. Then the classroom discipline, of course, this slide has been prepared on the belief that we would conduct lectures physically. So classroom discipline are not big deals or any rules, regulations as far as I'm concerned. My classroom rules or the disciplines are interaction. I don't want you to be silent. My rules are, if as long as you talk, interact, ask question, so I like it. So that's the way. You should not believe in what I say. So that is the rule number one. Don't believe in what I say. Question me. If you question me, you would learn. If you believe in me, you will not learn anything. So that is simple as that. Okay? Right. Okay, actually my email has gone to a private, maybe only one person. Everyone. Right, now I just copied it to everyone. Okay. These are additional readings. Again, I emphasize these are the additional reading that we have agreed, but ample. Lots of materials are available in the internet and other libraries, literature. You are free to read any um, accepted publication, not only textbooks, not only Drury. There are other textbooks authored by prominent authors. We can't list everything. You better explore. That also would be learning. Go to you can Google and look for best textbooks, research articles, or any type of um, literally accepted things. Authenticated documents can be used for your learnings. Assessment, as of now, this is the structure approved by the department. Sometimes, due to prevailing situation, this may change, but as of now, for the continuous assessments, 40%, the final examination, 60%. How it is going to be done would be communicated to you in future, in due course. If you have any question about the structure of the program, how it is going to be conducted, lecturing and basic things, you can ask now before moving on to the subject matter. That is the overview of management accounting. Is there any question? Is there any question? It looks like there are no questions. Okay, even um, if something pops up in your mind later on, you can ask. Yeah, someone has asked about midterm examination, like so continuous assessment could be midterm, quizzes or assignment, presentation, any modes. In that case, midterm examination is a continuous assessment. But as I just like told you, due to the prevailing condition, still we have not decided what kind of continuous assessments would be done. Maybe midterm examination, but if that's the case, you would be informed in advance. No worries. Yes, recording also will be uploaded Yeah, if someone can remind me after 1 hour, okay, I will also just make a point to break that into two, stop and restart. Otherwise, if I record it at a stretch, it would be difficult for me to upload into the system. So basically, that would be uploaded to LMS and to YouTube channel as well. But it is good to break it into uh, at least two or three. Though the time has been allocated for 3 hours through like in online mode, it would not be practical unless we interact and engage in some works and all those things. So therefore, sometime we may have to limit it to 2 hours. So it depends. No worries. Um, we continue in that way. So that would be uploaded. No worries. Then later on you can refer it. Management accounting. Actually, if you are curious to learn about management accounting, you are free. You can read any book, you can, so even within this course, as long as like you are following this course, while you are studying, you can refer to any material and gather it. That is for your knowledge purposes. Then you are an expert. You are confident enough, you know, that might be helpful for this examination, for other examination, or in day-to-day life. So learning management, knowing management accounting will help you to build or organize your own life as well. So that is one of the beauties of learning, or especially the management accounting. I will explain you why management accounting is so important for us. So nevertheless, even though the scope is very broad, you can go to any extreme for the examination purposes. For the examination purposes, these are the learning outcomes. You have to keep this thing in mind. That means these are the minimum requirements. If you are, I mean, if you can gain these competencies specified in the learning outcomes, that would be adequate to pass the examination. So accordingly, you can decide what's your objective. Just to, of course, everyone has to get a good grade. Therefore, you need to reach all those learning outcomes. The rest, it depends on you. It depends on you. So what are they? First one is distinguish. So basic understanding should be there. So you must be able to distinguish management accounting and financial accounting for what? Why? We will discuss. But this differentiation is needed due to some reason. But it's not a big deal, but so simple clarification purposes and information processing purposes we'll discuss. So this is one objective. Number two, identify and describe elements involved in decision making, planning, and control process. Actually, this the second learning outcome has been derived from management, general management. We know that when we carry out anything, no matter whether it is a business, individual, at home, private, public, so everywhere, if you want to do something in an organized manner, you have to plan it, you have to arrange it. So you need to do it in a systematic way. So that is what we call planning and control process. So therefore, this general planning and control process is valid for management accounting as well. What are we going to do here is, as a learning outcome, identify this process from management accounting perspective, from management accounting perspective. Third one, justify the view that a major objective of commercial organization is to broadly seeks to maximize present value of future cash flows. In a way, right? So some I'm not going to elaborate unnecessarily, just to give you the glimpse of this, the basic idea. Dominantly in our learning, because we live in a market economy, we talk about organization, entities, different entities would be there. Even you and I are entities. But when we process information for decision-making purposes, for management accounting or any other subject, mainly we talk about formal entities such as organizations or different types of organizations. Among different types of organizations, some organizations may not have a profit motive like our university. Our university does not have a motive of maximizing its own profit. It is vested with a different objective to create knowledge and disseminate that knowledge. So likewise, there are so many other organizations in this world with different objectives which are distinct from the profit. But the profit comes along with the market economy and maximizing private. So if we go to that organization now, but management accounting is applicable for any organization. When we talk about a profit maximization organization, it would be easy for us to start this learning. That is why we focus on profit maximizing organizations, right? So therefore, um, for such organization, maximizing profit or maximizing present value, or sometimes so different versions are there, right? In order to justify, because nowadays, in the past, when you say profit maximization, that was considered to be all right, good. Now when you, it's not considered as good objective. Why? When you try to maximize your own profit, company's profit, you simply disregard social issues. You do not worry how the income inequality exists in your society. You do not regard the value of environment. You cut all the trees, deforest, or you release your emissions, production emissions to the environment, because you think of your profit. So we have lots of evidence throughout the world. Because of that reason, now the profit maximizing objective is not regarded as a good um, action, good action. So therefore, new versions have come, but the same thing is done. Instead of saying profit maximizing, we say maximizing present value. Present value of what? Present value created by the entity through the operations at the end of the day. Maximizing present value is also maximizing profits. No difference, right? Different labels. And on the other hand, we talk about maximizing wealth as well, shareholders' wealth. In finance also you learn. So more or less, I'm not going to distinguish all those things, even though there are slight differences. At the end of the day, what organizations are doing is accumulating wealth, accumulating income, profit maximization. But there are issues, so these things can be learned in different subjects. If the time permits, so I can talk about this, but I'm not going to that aspect. I try my level best to limit this, because if I talk about these organizations, so lots of things can be discussed. So nevertheless, if we accept this idea, maximizing the present value, of course, there is no harm of creating value. Lots of issues have arisen not because that organization create value. Actually, organizations are supposed to create value. If you do not create value, there is no survival, no existence. It would really vanish, it would die. Therefore, nothing wrong with creating value or maximizing value. What is wrong with? Actually, the problems which are not discussed in our subject, problems associated with this profit or the value is the way in which how this value, created value, is distributed, right? To great extent, a handful of people grab a bulk, maybe 80%, 90% of the value created by 90% of people. 1% of people would grab the value, 90% of value created by 95, almost, so significant majority of the stakeholders. So that is the biggest problem in our society, in our organization. So therefore, now as a learning objective, we are not going to talk about all these things. So in different subjects we can talk about from management accounting perspectives. we must be able to first justify the value creation process. That is why we are not going to talk about the value distribution process. If we try to justify value distribution process, lots of issues are there. The present way of distribution cannot be accepted. Cannot be accepted. No way. Therefore, your learning outcome is justifying value maximizing process. You need to explain why and how the value is maximized. For example, when you invest in a project, you have to, there are two projects, you can say that if you go for this particular project, value would increase by this much if you use this rate when we consider this situation. So that is this learning outcome. I hope that it is clear. Justification of the action that you do. What is the action of maximizing wealth? Then the next objective, learn, explain the factors that have influenced the changes in competitive environment. This is a little bit qualitative and explanatory approach. You may feel a little bit bored about it. Why? So many things surrounded by an organization, mainly technology, environment, society. How changes in these things would influence management accounting and to environment organization? Because um, there are limitations of this particular argument as well, but the initial stage, we believe that these organizations which produce goods and services live in a competitive environment. Recall what you learn in economics. The father of economics, Adam Smith. What did Adam Smith say? Adam Smith said that if individual organizations organize their operations, manufacturing in an efficient manner and competitive manner, there is a greater possibility that all those individual organizations can produce goods and services in the most efficient manner, and at the lowest cost of production. Therefore, general public can buy goods and services at the lowest cost, goods and services produced efficiently at the lowest cost. Therefore, that's good for the society. So even though your production process maximizes profit for you, the private profit, that process helps to serve the public interest as well. That is what Adam Smith suggested. And that is what you learn in economics, especially in perfectly competitive markets. Now, what has happened, if you just look at the environment in Sri Lanka, other countries, everywhere in the world, such competitive, though we say that competitive organization, competitive environment, competitive organizations are not there. Instead, monopolies, oligarchies can be seen. So even in Sri Lanka nowadays, you can take a very good example for your even research or study. Like there is a restriction or the import restriction, banning imports, several items. Among them, one of best-selling item is these ceramic products. Ceramic products. Now, so for example, bathroom stuff, tiles, all those things, Chinese production, so imported things are not available in the market. So who produces the tiles and other ceramic products in Sri Lanka? There are many companies, many companies. If you look at the market share and profits and all those things, only all those companies belong to one or two groups, mainly one group. Therefore, there is a monopoly, no competition. So you would not get the benefit of this thing. So that's what I just throw you something outside of your learning outcome, but that might help you to understand. So likewise, Even though we argue that we live in a competitive environment in the course of production of goods and services, it is not. We compete individually for something else. In the production processes, lots of issues are there. We have to learn these things in other subjects. Now, next one, explaining the important changes that have taken place in the business environment, as I just told you, especially information technology. I will come that aspect later on. Then identify and describe functions of management accounting. Later on, up to now, all those learning outcomes help us to understand the scope of management accounting from a macro level, from a broader perspective. But if you work or if you look at what really happens within management accounting inside an organization, you need to know what's happening. Management accounting might do some calculations, cost calculations. Then these things may be pricing, so some decisions. So always it is good to link these things to present situation. If you take the current economic conditions and situations in Sri Lanka, the foreign exchange, now it's controlled to some extent. In future, it is likely that it will go up. So what would be the challenges that an organization which imports and engages in trading or general trading business in Sri Lanka, how are they going to forecast their costing? It would be extremely challenging because we do not know. The government also has imposed another ruling now. LCs have to be open for 6 months, meaning you would settle after 6 months. Sometimes you may have to look for the credit facilities for 6 months. So what would be the foreign exchange difference between now and after 6 months? My goodness, it would be extremely difficult for you to forecast with the prevailing conditions. Prevailing conditions, right? So then daunting task, the challenges would really come onto the shoulders of management accountants and such professionals to determine the cost. You see how the learning outcome of this subject would help you to use them in practical situation. Identify international convergence of management accounting practices. You know that actually we live in a global world. In a global world, um, even I mean local world or anywhere, that is true, knowledge is accumulated in such a manner. Knowledge is accumulated. Human gather knowledge. The individual knowledge can be easily passed on to society. It is documented, discussed, researched likewise. So at the end of the day, knowledge belongs to the society. Knowledge is everywhere. If you limit your knowledge boundary or the territory as Sri Lanka only, of course, individuals who live within Sri Lanka can access to knowledge within Sri Lanka. But it is a fact that nowadays, no one lives in isolated so-called Robinson Crusoe's world. We don't live in our own territory, own self. We come out from this thing in some or other way, we interact with the world. So therefore, the global knowledge context is there. So in a global knowledge context, some countries or some organizations may or societies may have developed some knowledge, advanced knowledge. Therefore, we have to gain that particular knowledge. We should not try to invent that knowledge on our own. There is no point. That has been already developed. The glass technology has been already developed in the world and that is widely used throughout the world. So being Sri Lankan corporations or individuals, now there is no point of giving hard efforts to invent glass technology. Glass technology has been already invented. But we should look at, by referring to those benchmarks and practices, what next would be, or what else can we do by using this thing. So therefore, it is imperative and it's of paramount importance for us to refer to international benchmark and convergence. So throughout the world, we work in such programs. That is on one hand. On the other hand, global businesses are connected either through value chain or supply chain or any other strategic business alliances like big multinational companies. Therefore, production in one country is being sold in another country. This convergence is needed. If you do not have the same practices, so cost calculation would be misleading. You would end up with losses. That is the importance of this convergence. We will talk about this thing, new practices. Some of new practices, even though we call them as new, now they are very old, 20, 30 years old, but still that is new to us. For example, ABC, all those things are actually old. Identify the importance of ethics in management accounting. Actually, I would like to talk much about this, but maybe later on. This is something or some area where we have really missed, or we try to understand this ethics from totally a different perspective. In simple speaking or simple expression, ethics deal with right and wrong. What is the right thing to do? Your moral obligations. How do you do this thing? How do you determine all these things? Based on what principles? Should it be on religious or individual, cultural, social, and nationalistic? So, likewise, so many viewpoints may come in. There may be. But when it comes to professionals, from management accounting, it's always good if you can look at from professional point of view, professional ethics. So therefore, professional ethics cannot favor identified subgroups. Professional ethics should always serve the public interest and not the private interest. That is the rule. Again, professional ethics in management accounting are supposed to serve public interest and not the private interest. So this is a big challenge, even though that is the ideal situation. What we see in the world, all those professional management accountant like you guys, you are going to be like graduates in future, professional accountants or professionals. At the end of the day, if you serve to some individuals simply disregarding the public interest, it is an ethical issue. It is moral issue. You don't know, some people do that. They are happy with that. So that is the nature of our society. Okay, now we have asked a question, what is the role of accounting? This is in general, role of accounting. Why do we need accounting? What does accounting do? Right? In two branches, like even in general, you can talk about this. If you talk about accounting in general, unlike in the past, now accounting actually deals with information processing and using art of information processing and using them for various decisions. So that is the simple, my own definition. You can have definitions given by various institutions, conceptual framework, likewise. But truly, from its depth, essence of accounting is taken, accounting has gone up to such a level of processing information and using information for decision making, for who? For the benefit of the mankind, for the benefit of the general public, for the benefit of the society. So that is the broader areas. but within which accounting is divided into two groups: financial accounting and management accounting. Financial accounting, you know that there are certain areas, and management accounting, there are certain traditional definitions are also there. Traditional demarcations can be seen. Therefore, I'll give this thing as, I mean, homework for you. You everyone summarize the role of accounting in general. In general, better not to distinguish them into financial accounting and management accounting. um, Critically look at the role of accounting. What is role of accounting? What is written in literature? What is traditionally regarded as role of accounting? What should it be? Uh, and what would be the future dimension of role of accounting in a society where the technology dominates everything, right? In future, artificial intelligence would really hack humans. So they would take lots of decision on behalf of you, and they would pass lots of information to you, especially. So that is how things happen, right? Even Google, Amazon and all, so big companies use artificial intelligence to great extent, even in the medical fields as well. So quickly they detect based on algorithms. So therefore accounting can go up to such a big level. Different disciplines can be. So basis is in a way accounting. So try to understand accounting from that particular perspective. But as I previously just emphasized, uh, role of accountants. Now your, maybe I do not want to belittle your or limit your scope to be an accountant. Once you graduate, of course, one of the jobs available for you is accountant, management accountant, group accountant, financial accountant, and any other CFOs. Likewise, within these accounting and managerial arena, you will have lots of positions. But if you go to the accountant position, assuming that for the time being you are going to be an accountant, professional accountant. So what should you do as an accountant? Role of accountant. So that is the biggest challenge. So of course, being an accountant, you have to do all those things as I just told you, information processing for various decision makings. But in that processing, of course, you interact and encounter with society, environment, and the short-sighted profit motives of organization, where so which are represented by directors and key managers. So to great extent, these professional accountants are challenged, and they have to take a decision either to serve public or private. Evidence, lots of evidence that we have as of now, they tend to be with private, not with public. That is one of the biggest problems we are facing. So if you look at the society, this is there. Therefore, role of accountants, role of accounting profession um, has to be redefined and discussed and debated in the society. But if you look at these literature and all these things, the traditional role of accounting can be identified. All right. I now give you a small work. If possible, I'm not going to break them. So how many people are there altogether? Maybe 100, 141. 141. So if I can break you into small groups and give you a work um, to deal with this from management accounting perspective, that would be really good. If I were in a classroom, definitely this is a classroom assignment. Anyway, we will give a try. You guys, maybe one or two, you can communicate each other. You can form your own groups if you want. I'll give you 10-15 minutes to get an answer for this thing and to present. Then one can present either in Sinhala or in English. Then we can discuss. At least 2-3 people can present. That would be ideal. Be volunteer. I do not, of course, I do not know who you are. So therefore, I'm not going to force, I'm not going to separate you into groups. I kindly request you to be volunteers and form your own groups and work it out. What is the task? What is the task? Some statistics are thrown to you. Can so one of you guys or some of you guys just tell me, have you seen these numbers? Have you come across these numbers? Because these numbers were released day before yesterday. Yes? Can I hear from you? Is there anyone in this class who has seen these numbers or noticed these numbers which were released by the Census and Statistical Department of Sri Lanka on 16th December? Yes or no? Hello, hello. I do not know whether you are there, you are listening me. Hi guys, are you there? Are you there? Yeah, please speak up. Okay. One said no, he is not. Isham Dean. Not. Is there anyone who has yes? It's good if someone can talk just to break the monotonous even. Like one man is talking all the time would be boring for you. Because I am talkative, right? I talk too much. Don't let me talk. You talk and ask me a question. Yes. Can someone talk? Yeah. Is there anyone who has seen these numbers? One just mentioned that he is not. Sometimes there may be some you may have seen these numbers. It's all right. Okay. No. One person has noted one thing, right? I have mentioned here as DGP growth, right? So he's asked whether it is DGP or GDP. Yes, it is GDP. Hmm? It's my mistake. But you see, if I want, I do not want to say that that is my mistake. I can say that no, no, it's not my mistake. I purposely did it to check whether you guys are on alert. Right? So just kidding, right? It's a mistake. It should be GDP. 1 minute, I just correct it. Mm, Yes, thank you very much. I purposely did it, right? That means so you are vigilant. Right. Thank you very much. Actually, these are the numbers. GDP growth rate in Sri Lanka in 2020 up to the third quarter ended 30th September. 30th September. Yeah, 300G. 1 minute. Should I? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, I need to ensure. Mm, yes, someone had just mentioned these are the economic growth rates for the first, second, and third quarters of the current year. You're right. And someone has raised the hand. Raising hand. I just got the notification. Reaction. Yeah, if someone wants to talk, yes, you can talk. Is there anyone who raised hand and want to say something? Hello. Okay. So if you have to say something, no, need not to even raise your hand, so you can unmute your mic and talk. Okay. Who is 94804? I think wanted to say something. Hello. Okay. Yes, you are right. These are the numbers. GDP growth in Sri Lanka in 2020. 2020. Still, this is participants. Okay, someone raised the hand, but I don't see in the participant list. It is not mentioned here, so may have been put it down. Okay, so if you want, you can ask question. No problem. GDP growth rates in Sri Lanka in 2020 up to quarter number 3. Actually, we know that 2020 was affected by the corona pandemic, especially several months were almost closed down. However, quarter one was not that much affected by corona as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. That is the quarter ended 31st March 2020. Even though corona just imagine January, February, March, we took decisions to close down economy and some restrictions, especially end of March. So therefore, it is unlikely that the March performance was significantly influenced by the corona pandemic. Nevertheless, the quarter results was released as a decline in economic growth, that is the negative economic growth of 1.6%. Due to some other reasons, the government did not release, especially government represented by the Census and Statistical Department did not release the results for the second quarter ended 30th June 2020. However, the results for both quarters, quarter ending 30th June, that is second quarter and third quarter results were released together on 16th December, which revealed that the second quarter growth was 16.3% minus, whereas quarter three indicated bounce back with a positive growth of 1.5%. Okay, quarter one, even with little impact of COVID, recorded 1.6 as per the official figures, but quarter 2 and 3 were not published until 16th December. That report reveals quarter 2 economic growth rate was minus 16.3%, whereas showing a green light and quarter 3 reported positive 1.5 growth. My question is this: from information analysis point of view, from management accounting point of view, from knowing paradigm perspective, not simple believing paradigm perspective, knowing paradigm, management accounting, information processing, dealing with information, or simply as an undergraduate. How do you explain these three numbers? How do you interpret these numbers? And what information can be traced from this? What signals are they? What are they? As a citizen of this country, or maybe as a graduate, or anybody who lives in Sri Lanka, maybe as a citizen, how do you take these numbers? So that is the task. I want at least 2-3 people to talk about. I will give you 10 minutes. Okay, I will give you 10 minutes. Please write down these numbers: quarter 1 growth minus 1.6, quarter 2 16.3, quarter 3 1.5 plus. Is that clear? Is the question clear to you? Okay, just work it out. I'll break the session.